Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Would request everyone to please take your seats so that we can start our session on time. I'm not sure. This is meeting room number 6. I don't know whether there is 6B or something.
What is going on? Which one your name? 6.
Green hydrogen policy in Indian states best practice. That's the session.
6A.
6. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, requesting everyone to take your seats, please. Yes, sir. And we'll be continuing the talks after the session. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon once again. I would request everyone to please take your seats so that we can start our session shortly. Thank you very much. I would also request to clear the aisle area. I would also request everyone to please put your mobile phones in the silent mode. कि लहरों से डरकर नौका पार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती। नन्ही चींटी जब दाना लेकर चलती है, चढ़ती दीवारों पे 100 बार फिसलती है। मन का विश्वास रगों में साहस भरता है, चढ़कर गिरना गिरकर चढ़ना ना अखरता है। आखिर उसकी कोशिश बेकार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती। India has seen many bad days, but India has always come out as winners, emerged as a winner. And of course, we can say many languages, many culture, many people, still we see unity in diversity, and that's India, one nation. And of course, would like to take the opportunity to welcome all you fine people, distinguished guests and dignitaries, eminent speakers, and respected moderator to this session. The session is called Green Hydrogen Policy in Indian States Best Practices. It is our honor and privilege to introduce our panelist. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Rajesh B. Lakhoni, is the CMD of Tamil Nadu Electricity Board and Tamil Nadu Generation and Distribution Corporation Limited, and chairman of Tantransco, in place of Pankaj Kumar Bansal, changed from position of Principal Secretary, Commissioner of Archives and Historical Research Department. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me welcoming Mr. Lakhoni. It is my pleasure to introduce Shri Narendra Bhooshan, is currently serving as Principal Secretary to Government of UP Energy and Additional Energy Source Department of Panchayati Raj Department, Lucknow. Mr. Bhooshan, it is absolutely a pleasure to introduce you to our audience. We have Mr. Ajay Yadav, IS, currently serves as the Joint Secretary at the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India. Prior to this, he worked in several ministries of Government of India, like Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Positions, etc. Please join me welcoming Mr. Ajay Yadav. It is my pleasure to invite on stage Dr. Kadambari Balkawade, is the Director General of Maharashtra Energy Development Agency. With a distinguished career in public service, she has previously held several key positions, including Municipal Commissioner of Kolhapur, District Collector and Magistrate of Gondia, and Chief Executive Officer of Jila Parishad in Nagpur under Panchayat and Rural Development Department. Dr. Kadambari, please join me welcoming. It is my privilege to introduce to you Mr. N. Amaranath, is from KPTCL and is the KSPDCL, has more than 30 years of experience in the field of design, construction and planning, operations and maintenance of substations of different voltage classes. Mr. Amaranath is working since 2016 in Karnataka Solar Power Development Corporation Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, join me welcoming Mr. N. Amaranath. And it is my privilege to introduce our moderator for the session, Mr. Somesh Kumar. And Mr. Kumar is the partner and leader of Power and Utility, Ernst & Young. With more than 20 years of experience across the utilities sector, Mr. Somesh leads the power and utilities sectors of Ernst & Young India and supports the government, regulators, and energy companies as they tackle the unprecedented transformation of India's energy sector. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Give a big round of applause for our respected panelists as well as our moderator. I would request Mr. Somesh Kumar now to take charge.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great privilege to welcome eminent dignitaries on the dais. Very, very esteemed, distinguished panelists. I think this is a very highly senior and knowledgeable panel that I have with me here today. I think this is a great session which will discuss about the policy aspects of green hydrogen. We've been discussing over the last 2 days. Today is the third day on several aspects of green hydrogen, but I think this panel will exclusively deliberate on the policy aspects of green hydrogen in the center as well as the states. Without much ado, I think I will just move on to my panelists. And let me start with the perspective from the center before I go to the states. So let me start with Mr. Ajay Yadav. I would like to have your opening remarks, sir. Particularly, since the last ICGH, which was held in 2023 last year, we've seen progress on multiple fronts, So just in your opening remarks, if you can take us through some of the achievements of what has happened in the last 1 year under the National Clean Hydrogen Mission in particular. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. As you said, the first conference, international conference on green hydrogen, that was held last year in July. And I'll start from there. So there we launched a draft R&D roadmap, which laid out broad contours of our R&D scheme, R&D, a component of the mission. And thereafter, when we had World Hydrogen Day event in October, we finalized the draft scheme and it was launched as an R&D roadmap. In addition to this, if I can go month-wise, or I'll just list out some points as to what we have done. So in August, we launched the Green Hydrogen Standard for India. Then we had the major component of the mission is the SITE scheme, the Strategic Interventions for Green Hydrogen Transition, which has an allocation of around 17,000 crores. So here we are providing incentives for two components. First one is the manufacturing of electrolyzers, and the second one is production of green hydrogen and its derivatives. So till date, we have awarded around 3,000 megawatt capacity for electrolyzer production. And this will be incentivizing for over a period of 5 years. So cumulatively, we will be incentivizing production capacities of 15,000 megawatt over next 5 years. This is the electrolyzer part. Then coming to the second component of site, that is the green hydrogen part. So here, again, we have till date, we awarded the first tranche, which was 412,000 of green hydrogen production capacity. We have identified 10 companies, and these companies have identified the locations where they will be setting up the plants. This is a component which is non-end use specific, so we have not asked where this hydrogen would be used, and they are free to use it in the country, they are free to export it as well. But then we have moved fast to create a domestic market for green hydrogen. And in fact, many people call it as mandates, but we don't call it a mandate, but it is in fact domestic demand that has been created. So under this, we have two major components. One is the refinery sector. So we have till date allocated around 2 lakh tons of green hydrogen capacity to refining sector, and there will be decentralized production. So the production plants of hydrogen will be co-located with the hydrogen with the refinery units. So till date, around 37,000 tons of this production capacity has been bidded out. Rest is in pipeline, and maybe by end of this year, we'll be bidding out whole 2 lakh tons of green hydrogen production. Then there is the fertilizer sector. So we identified around 12 units which will be using green ammonia, and we aggregated their demand, and we have bid out around 740,000 tons of green ammonia procurement that will be procured. The end user specified, the units are tied up where this will be used. So this is one of the largest such procurements in the world. And this will be the time period, the tenure of procurement is also 10 years. So the cumulative procurement would be 70 lakh tons or 7 million tons of green ammonia over a period of 10 years. So this is by far one of the largest such initiatives in the world. So this is the site component. Then again, on moving forward, we have pilot projects. So we have launched pilot projects in steel, shipping, and mobility, and these pilot projects are under now various stages of finalization. For road transport, we have already identified the routes and the vehicles, number of vehicles that will be running on these routes. We will be providing VGF for running these vehicles, as well as we will be providing VGF for setting up the hydrogen refilling stations. Then again, we have set up, there are certain associated things. For example, we have now a scheme for skilling. So that is also out. We have a scheme for setting up of testing units, upgradation of testing units. So that is currently out. That we scheme for setting up of hydrogen hubs. So that's also currently out. In addition to this, the mission component, so there are a lot of other components where we are in touch. We are collaborating with other departments of government of India. It's a whole of government approach. So we are in touch with, for example, Ministry of Power. So Ministry of Power has now provided an ISTS waiver for 25 years for green hydrogen projects. There was some issue regarding to the single bidding zone. So the latest policy tweak that happened last week, so that has also been, the Ministry of Power has come out with that notification. In addition, we have been in touch with Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And due to the green nature of green ammonia, green hydrogen production, so Environment, clearance exemptions have been provided to these plants. We have launched a national single window system for granting permissions for green hydrogen projects. Then we are in touch with Ministry of Commerce, and we have provided the captive power plants that are set up in SEZ units will be eligible for duty benefits if the power is being used for green hydrogen and green ammonia production. So there are large number of initiatives that we have taken over last 1 year. We are in touch with around a dozen countries where we are pursuing Article 6.2 of Paris Agreement, so as to how we can collaborate on government-to-government basis for promoting trade of green hydrogen. In fact, during G20, there was a New Delhi Leaders Declaration with 5 voluntary principles on high-level voluntary principles on green hydrogen. So this is a flow of events that last few months that we have been continuously doing, and we have further plans. We are setting up a center of excellence for hydrogen. We are setting up National Center for Hydrogen Safety. So the list is long, but I'll just stop here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Those were fairly detailed views on what the central government has been doing, and I think it's been doing a phenomenally good work in this area with the policy and other initiatives. With that, the perspective from the central government, I would like to move on to what the states are doing, and it would be good to understand, sir, in your opening remarks, what your state is planning, what has it done, and what is it planning to do in the days to come on this important subject. So I would like to start with Mr. Rajesh Lakhoni to give us the perspective from Tamil Nadu.
Before I give perspective, let me just write 2 rhyming lines. Of course, it's chat GPT, so don't take it, but it covers the sense. Now, green hydrogen flows where the windmill soars or spins. In Tuticorin, solar and waves, it begins. Why I say is that these 2 lines has all the features of where I think the green hydrogen can start. Now, Tuticorin, it has to be near a port. It has to be in a location where solar insolation is high. That's Tuticorin. It has to be in a location where wind is there, because if you don't want to use the grid to balance the power. So this is the place where it has begun. And of course, I'll list out what incentives we are given. And I'll just tell you why this is more important, because Tuticorin is another place for offshore wind location also. There's maximum potential in India, both India and Tamil Nadu and Gujarat, very huge potentials and good offshore wind sites are there. What government of Tamil Nadu has done, I think green hydrogen, the most important thing is the cost of power. And of course, incentive, all the states give, of course, our industrial policy takes care of it. And we have given what most, of course, electrolyzers and other things, we have given capital incentive, which of course is to disperse over a period of 10 to 12 years. But most important thing, I'd just like you to make a note, and then I think if you're interested in investing, for solar panels, no other states has given, and windmill, 33% of the cost is given as incentive, which is dispersed over a period of 10 years. So I think solar, 1/3 of your solar cost, panel cost is given by state as an incentive. This is not only, this is one of the biggest. Now, the second most cost for windmill and for any green hydrogen producer is the cost of renewable energy. Now, so this is the cost, capital cost means the cost has come down by 1/3. Then there are other charges of transmission charges, scheduling charges, and other things. What we have done in Tamil Nadu is we have frozen those charges for 25 years. We have multi-year tariff. So every year the charges increase by 5 to 6%. We have frozen it from the date of commissioning 10 years. So if you are entering into an agreement for 10 years, you don't have to worry about increasing the charges. And there's a huge discount, which is an open access charges taken all together. Of course, 50% all states give for renewable energy discount. We are given another 25%. So that is the third thing, which is very important, is because earlier, how much time I have?
No, please go. Please, just you can take 5 minutes, sir.
Yeah,
please.
okay. No, you can always stop me because
Sure.
I have so many things to talk, and I have too many rhyming lines also. So.
That makes it interesting,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah. Now the third thing, which is in the sense that third thing is that you have to connect to a DISCOM line, in the sense that DISCOM charges you fixed costs. Even if you use renewable charges, the fixed charges for your connections you have to pay. Now that fixed charges are high and it keeps up increasing as the tariff goes up. That also in our case from the date of commissioning has been frozen for 10 years. Means your fixed charges for connection. Hello? Which is you have to pay. So these are the major costs which really brings it down. But this is not the only thing. It's in the sense that there's a capital subsidy for land you buy. And land, there's no restriction up to, there's some percentage of capital subsidy for up to 158 for your green hydrogen plant. But for solar plant, you require acres and acres, up to 20,000, 30,000 acres, for which you have got capital subsidy even for land purchase. And stamp duty, 50% off. So, and electricity tax, I don't have to talk, it's waived for 10 years. So I'm saying somewhere I was overhearing that they'll put duties and tax. So all that had gone. Apart from that, for training, there's an incentive of 4,000 rupees per person for 6,000 rupees. And if you are marginalized section, there's incentive of 6,000 rupees. So I think that this is, I think I had done the major. Apart from that, there are other. So I think the cost of producing green hydrogen is very low, especially in Tuticorin. Apart from that locational advantage, low cost land, solar, wind. Now the last thing I will talk about is basically now the RED 3, I think Renewable Energy Directives of European Union have made it very difficult that you can't, of course, we had given solar banking for 1 month. No state gives banking. Now, let me explain what is banking, because people understand banking in a different way. Now, what if you generate, I think banking is solar, I personally recommend it, you should generate and consume in the same time. But most of the companies don't run the solar like that. They'll generate 3 times in the day and will ask evening and night the same power they'll draw from the grid. It's actually the gray kind of hydrogen, but that is what a lot of people do. So what is our monthly is that if whatever you generate in month, you can consume in a month. That is what. So you can generate more in daytime and consume in night and all. So that is a great incentive. I think no other state is offering. Because of course, Tamil Nadu has been known for banking because 1984 we started banking when people thought that banking is only for cash, not for energy. So for wind banking. So these are the major advantages. Of course, if I list out, I think 5 minutes will not be sufficient. I'll have to need 20 minutes. Small incentives. Yeah. This is now one more thing I just tell you and stop, and then 2 concerns I'll raise, and then one thing is that offshore wind, which personally I think offshore wind is an angel of renewable power because of the location of Sri Lankan peninsula, Sri Lanka, because that there's a tunneling effect in Tamil Nadu coast. So the windmill is available. Of course, the PLF is only 50%, but PLF, how 50% is allocated is important. This is extremely important because from June to January, I have continuous wind. Even now, our Tamil Nadu wind profile is different. June to September, I have continuous wind. After that, I have zero wind. So even though my PLF is 30%, my PLF in this 4 months is 100%. With offshore wind, that get extended to 6 months. So actually, if you use wind and offshore wind, I think you are actually generating a truly green hydrogen without depending upon the grid and trying about gray and all those issues. Now, last thing I just like to say, my major concern, of course, and we are fortunate, we have signed agreement with 4 companies, and I think I'm thankful to ministry because they recently launched the SEMCORP thing with Japan that time. Now, my major concern is this RED 3 regulations, because it says that you have to be truly green. Now, truly green is something without battery and without PSP, you can never be truly green. Now, wherever you generate, doesn't really matter you generate in Rajasthan or how will you, and second, my major concern is if you're truly green, you can do solar in some part of battery so that your curve becomes flat, because a company that which generates green will require flat curve for power. You can't do a bell curve for using the power, so you will require battery to do. Now, the moment you use battery, the cost goes up hugely, even if one shift. Second thing is for truly green, you can't use battery for 18 hours. So only one shift operation battery will be economical. So you can generate the green and hydrogen only for one shift. So one shift operation, so much of investment for 3 shifts really make it slightly more expensive. So these RED 3 directives are making it slightly more expensive. I think we have been requesting a ministry and all. So gray hydrogen to start with should be permitted, and slowly we should migrate once the battery cost comes down. Because PSP also is expensive in the sense PSP is not cheap. And presently battery and PSP are competitive. So these are the opening remarks. I'll stop with it because you're looking at me continuously. So, but this, of course, I'll just read out two more lines because this is because this offshore wind is very important for Tamil Nadu and Gujarat, as you know. So I'll just read out. Green hydrogen flows where offshore winds blow. In Tamil Nadu seas, India's future will grow.
Thank you, sir. Very, very interesting, sir. Thank you. I was not looking at you, sir, like that. But very interesting. And certainly, I think a lot of work has been done in Tamil Nadu, which makes it very attractive for investment, particularly in Tuticorin area. So thank you so much, sir. Moving on to the Uttar Pradesh perspective, may I invite Narendra Bhooshan to give his opening remarks about the state. So do you have a presentation?
Yeah.
Would you like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So all the same things I can speak, but I think presentation will be better.
Okay,
Is it there?
Yeah,
You
it's
upload it?
there. It's
So
there.
can I speak from here? Can you give me, or should I say next?
The pointer, if you can give.
So friends, we know Government of India has done wonderfully well by bringing the green hydrogen mission. And I think the challenge before each one of us is basically how to bridge the gap between the gray hydrogen, gray ammonia, and green hydrogen or green ammonia. But Uttar Pradesh has a second challenge, being a landlocked state, sitting next to the coastal states, Presently, here also they have made me landlocked, on both the sides. There are like coastal states. So there is an additional challenge, but I think UP has done wonderfully well, I claim, in terms of bringing very, very comprehensive financial incentive policy, which I will explain just now. So I was wondering actually if my friend keep on, saying his rhymes and I can speak about financial incentives, that would have been better. And he is from Uttar Pradesh and MP and doing a wonderful work down south. So please remember, Tamil Nadu is down south and UP means up, up, up. So you can go up if you come to UP. So I think green hydrogen mission, we all know, the target is 5 million metric ton per annum by 2030. And I think we are talking about another 5 million metric tons of export potential also. So Uttar Pradesh, although despite being landlocked state, we have very, very ambitious target. And we plan to do 1 million metric ton per annum production of green hydrogen by 2029 through our policy and an employment generation of 1.2 lakhs. I will miss on the objectives, but I want to talk about the financial incentives. There are three options for all the investors, which I will speak about recently. And then if you look at this, we came out with this global investor segment and we have already MOUs for 20 projects worth 2.37 lakh crores worth of investment. So first, let me talk about the demand potential in Uttar Pradesh. When we came out with policy this January 2024, the demand of green hydrogen and green hydrogen actual consumption was close to 0.9 million metric tons. And if you look at ammonia production, we have many, many big fertilizers, although most of them are urea. And presently, I think urea fertilizers company are not looking at green hydrogen or green ammonia in that sense. But then we have methanol and chemical production. There is a Mathura refinery. And Ajay, I think, talked about refinery is talking about it. Mathura refinery presently is consuming about 40 kilotons of hydrogen every year. Then power generation has huge potential. City gas distribution, again, Ajay talked about mandates. So when I think there will be some mandate about blending green hydrogen in city gas distribution. UP is the largest state in India with 25 crore 250 million population. So I think there will be a huge potential there also. Transport also, UP again being the largest state. But then in terms of tourism and religious potential, we have the world famous Agra, the Taj city, we have Varanasi, we have Ayodhya. So huge potential on that. And then being a large consumer market. So in terms of logistic, heavy trucks, etc., there will be huge market in Uttar Pradesh. So just in 1 second, I can show Mathura refinery located there. So the demand presently is 45 KT per annum. Then paper and pulp industry also uses hydrogen. So there will be scope there also in tannery industries also. In terms of fertilizer, there are like fertilizer industry at many places, but I spoke about presently it is urea. So I think we will have to wait for some time when the demand gets generated. In terms of other steel, aluminum, we have some big industries in Gorakhpur, but then steel industries located at many places. And in Sonbhadra, there is Hindalco and Nelco plants also in aluminum. Ultimately, they will be looking at green hydrogen also for their power requirements, because when this carbon border adjust mechanism of European Union kicks in, they will have to do something, or they will have to, I think, shift to green hydrogen as their source of power production also. So then I talk about mobility. We have these centers, industry hubs, all those centers are there. Now coming back to the policy which we announced, it gives you 3 options. So I think we try to, do a lot of viability gap funding, both in terms of, as I talked about, the difference between green hydrogen or green ammonia versus the gray ammonia, and also the being a landlocked state. Capital subsidy is state, basically, if you set up in Bundelkhand or Purvanchal, which means about more than 50% of Uttar Pradesh. So it is at 30% if you go to the ultra mega category. Ultra mega category means more than 3,000 crores rupees of investment. And in the super mega category, it is 25%. So this is one option. And for the first 5 units, I will explain in the next slide, there is extra 5 to 10% of the capital subsidy. But then at present, I think GST on hydrogen and ammonia is 18%. So there is another option to be selected, which means we reimburse net SGST up to 300% of the investment. So which means if you are investing 3,000 crores, you can actually take back 9,000 crores in next 10 to 20 years, depending on the place where you are setting, the district which you are selecting, and the scale of your project. There is another incentive, but the third option, which I think is the most easier one. So if Government of India has sanctioned you PLI, then straightway 30% of we are giving it as a top-up subsidy. So if you are getting 50 rupees per kg, then 15 rupees within 1 week of whenever it gets sanctioned by Government of India or it gets disbursed by Government of India, we will top up that PLI subsidy. So let me, I think, take a detour and talk about electrolyzer manufacturer also. Similar policy is there. The policy is known as UP Industrial Investment and Employment Promotion Policy. And the similar types of 3 options are there. And I think the scales are also similar. So if someone wants to set up the electrolyzer manufacturing units, then I think that is the policy to go to. So we are talking about the whole ecosystem being created in the state of Uttar Pradesh. So these are for the first 5 units, we have some extra subsidy of 5 to 10%. And this tender is out, our RFP is out. Already in the first month, 3 companies have applied, and there are 2 more projects to be selected, where we actually enhance the capital subsidy to 40% and 30%, 35%. There are other incentives, land incentives. We allocate land, if it is a government land, at a subsidized price of rupees 15,000 per acre per year. There is 100% exemption on stamp duty. My friend Lakhani was talking about 100% exemption on electricity duty, etc. And I think he was not speaking correct figures about other states. I overheard when he said there is no other subsidy in other states, but electricity duty exemption, etc. It is there. So I think most of these 100% waiver on wheeling charges, transmission charges, cross subsidy charges, they are there for first 10 years. So in terms of ease of doing business, we are the most reformed state, starting with law and order and crime situation, because of no-nonsense approach by our visionary Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath ji. And if you will recall, in 2019, we jumped to 12 positions to come second in ease of doing business. After that, we have been achieving. Recently, also last week, we got the first Achievers category award on ease of doing business. In terms of infrastructure, because connectivity will be very, very important. We are the biggest beneficiary of Eastern dedicated freight corridor and Western dedicated freight corridor. They intersect in UP at a place known as Datri. So we have like 9 airports functioning. 4 of them are international. The largest airport of India is coming at Jewar. We have 40% of India's expressways in Uttar Pradesh presently. And in terms of national highways also, we are again the biggest beneficiary of Government of India programs. So in terms of connectivity, infrastructure, because it will be very important to transport green hydrogen or green ammonia either to the port cities for exporting to Tuticorin also, or for other places also. So in terms of resource availability, the water will be there, and then we provide water, land, and we have given the white category status to green hydrogen plants. So R&D initiatives, because it is very important to promote R&D system. So we have provided for 2 center of excellences with a support of 50 crores rupees. We had come out with that advertisement for institutions like IITs, IIT Kanpur, IIT Varanasi, and there is this Petroleum Institute in Raebareli. They have already applied for this, and these center of excellence should become, they will get sanctioned in next 2 months, and they should start operating in next 6 months. And then there is another responsibility before them to basically act as incubators and promote the startup ecosystem also. This is my last slide. So friends, Uttar Pradesh, despite being landlocked state, offers you the advantages both in terms of the viability gap funding, and we try to make up for being the landlocked state. Please explore state of Uttar Pradesh. But if you feel there are other things required, sometimes we are willing to basically, if your investment is more than 3,000 crores, our policy provides flexibility that within these financial limits, you can write your own incentive schemes. Within the same financial incentives, we are ready to basically do a bit of like changes in the way these subsidies are disbursed. That also is possible. So if there is such demand, please contact us. I think we will be ready to consider that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Again, very interesting and very comprehensive view of Uttar Pradesh. I think the states are making a good pitch of their own states. So it's very, I mean, that's what the ministry at the center wants, isn't it? I mean, each state should, and good that, hinterland state like UP is also doing that and not a coastal state. So anyway, in the interest of time, let me move on, and may I request Dr. Kadambari to give Maharashtra's perspective on this, please.
Thank you so much.
And now I would like to put a time limit, please. Just 5 minutes,
yes,
ma'am, if
I
possible.
have a PPT. Can you just, I would like to show just 2 slides. Meanwhile, while they put up the PPT, let us talk about the strength of Maharashtra as a whole. Look at the topography of Maharashtra. It's coastal. Look, it has wind potential. It has solar potential. We have ports, which is already developed. JNPT port is there. Mumbai port is there. Mini ports are there, Raigad and Ratnagiri. We have a pipeline infrastructure in place, which is about more than 6,000 kilometers. It is urbanized and it is also industrialized, which means that the demand sector and the offtake is very much there within the state itself. So that takes me to the policy itself, and Maharashtra being the first state to declare a very exhaustive policy on green hydrogen itself, separate than the RE policy. So we are looking at a target to achieve about 500 KTPA by 2030. Some of the incentives that have been covered under the policy is, of course, there's a, if PPT is ready, there's just one slide I would like to show. So there's 50% exemption on inter-state transmission charges as well as wheeling charges. There's 100% exemption on electricity duty exemption, like on the lines of Tamil Nadu and UP as well. So there is 100% cross subsidy and surcharges exemption is also there. There is no NA tax, there is no local body tax, there's 100% stamp duty exemption. Along with that, when we try to levelize the cost of green hydrogen from the state incentive per se, we have brought it to about 160 to 170 rupees per kg of green hydrogen when we talk about the incentive which is being given by the state. We have also tried to utilize the pipeline infrastructure that is there with us, but through the policy itself, we under the policy are giving rupees 50 per kg for blending green hydrogen with natural gas. For 5 years from the date they start their blending. Along with that, we are giving subsidy, capital subsidy of 30% for laying down the new pipelines to a limit of 10 kilometers per project to up to 50 kilometers. Similarly, we're giving interest subsidy on pipeline infrastructure as well. Like I said, we are urbanized state as well. So we're looking at the public transport sector as well. So the first 20 green hydrogen refilling stations would be given 30% of the capital subsidy under the said policy. Also, the first green hydrogen fuel based buses, public transport buses, are given 30% of capital subsidy under the scheme itself. Just one slide I would like to show you, which summarizes the incentives that we under the policy has given. Move on to the next slide, please. Next. Next, please. Next. This is, yeah. This is what I was talking about when we are saying that the strength of Maharashtra lies. This is where the port is there, the off-takers are there, be the refineries or the chemicals, and the distance from the MMR region where the pipeline is also in existence. So this highlights our strength of Maharashtra. Please move on to the next slide. This is the summary of what I have just explained: the wheeling charges, transmission charges, electricity duty exemption, cross subsidy charges. We can move on to the next slide. This is for the blending and the transport section per se. And also, as we understand, it is a multidisciplinary section. So we have our committee, which is headed by the Chief Secretary, Madam herself, wherein the other departments which comes into picture while implementing the policy are being stirred with the pilot projects which is being undertaken in the state. Next, please. I would just like to highlight here that the response to the policy was very encouraging. Once our policy was announced, we could execute about MOUs with the state, with the various developers to the extent of 110 KTPA within the state. We also could give IDs to 8 projects of about 900 KTPA. So this entire would generate about 10 gigawatt of electrolyzer capacity. It would bring about 25 gigawatt of RE within state as well as outside state. And also direct indirect employment opportunities about 70,000. There is about, if you look at the investment that would be attracted in the state would be to the extent of about 2.9 lakh CR would be invested in the state itself. Move to the next, please. So the policy initiatives that we have taken under the state have been, the response has been very encouraging. So if there's anything further that would like to be, as UP has said, if there's any inputs from the side of developers, we are always ready and eager to learn more from the developers per se. I think I would close here. Maybe further discussion, I can add more to it.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Again, a very good view on Maharashtra. Thank you. Moving on, Mr. Amaranath, if I can ask for the Karnataka view on this briefly again.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sharing the stage with a lot of stalwarts. All the 3 states have promulgated the policy and we are yet to promulgate the policy. The policy is ready. It's already in the making. So as they have already said, even the Karnataka green hydrogen policy includes waivers on open access charges, capital expenditure subsidies on electrolyzer components for green hydrogen production and other necessary financial support to facilitate the growth of this sector. We are one of the states who are in the foremost for promulgating the RE policy in 2009 itself, and the present policy 2022 to 27 is in progress. And our industrial policy has come from 2020 to 25, which does not have a place for green hydrogen. Once this green hydrogen policy is formulated, they are going to make amendments and include that. Karnataka as such is having a very biodiversity area. We have a lot of wind potential up to 124 gigawatts and a lot of solar potential up to 350 gigawatts. And our RE stands today at 18 gigawatts. And we are the 4th in RE production with respect to the country. With respect to solar and wind, we are in the 3rd place. So we are open. We are in the process of identifying the clusters regarding this green hydrogen on the port side. The only disadvantage for us is our Western Ghats, wherein we cannot take high voltage lines. So our green hydrogen policy is planning for 0.5 million metric ton of hydrogen production. Parallelly, as KREDL, Karnataka Renewable Energy Development Limited, we are also putting up one pilot project at Bellary Thermal Power Station. We already have entered into an MOU with Karnataka Power Corporation Limited. So wherein we plan to produce around 40 tons per annum. The consumption of KPSL is 10 tons and the The remaining 30 tons will be sold to the open market. The cost of the DPR is 10 crores, and we have already sent a request to the MNRE for funding up to 3 crores. So the hydrogen production per hour would be almost 17 kg. So all this is in place. The cabinet policy, the policy is already circulated in the cabinet. There were some observations from the sister departments which will be attended. And I think hopefully by September or October, the policy will come into existence.
Thank you, sir. We really look forward to the policy coming in Karnataka as well. Again, a coastal state, so very, very important. So originally I had thought of a different format for the panel, but in the interest of time, I think we're already at 4, so we have to wrap it up in 15 minutes. So I just want to ask 2 questions from the panel. One is from the central government's perspective. So what are the additional, sort of incentives or, support areas that the states can expect from the central mission going forward? So any views on that, sir?
Thank you. It was a pleasure listening to the policies of the states, various states. We keep on interacting with all the states, and currently around we have 13 states which are directly or indirectly supporting green hydrogen through their various policies. 5 states have dedicated green hydrogen policies. 5 more states are in draft stage. Then 6 states are supporting it either through their industrial policies or through their RE policies. So the government of India provides an overall ecosystem, but it's the states there where the plants are coming up. And as has been told, these are the kind of incentives that states have lined up is really very impressive. And now it's not only a competition between the companies, now it's a competition between the states in the race to green hydrogen. So, and that's very, very encouraging. Again, going forward, now we are now trying to finalize all this. As we said, there's some of the tenders that we've already finalized. We're coming out with more tenders. We'll be closing out some of the things that are there. We are now focusing on the offtakes as well. So we are trying to close out certain agreements with a few countries on Article 6.2. Then there are certain other policy measures that we need to close out with Ministry of Commerce and with Ministry of Power. So as a whole of government approach, this green hydrogen mission, it occupies a very prominent space in the scheme of things. And it's a lot of, it is being almost reviewed almost on a daily, weekly basis. There are various states that, in fact, we are again writing to them. There are areas where, for example, skilling is one part we need to take special care of. We need to start some. We are already started some skilling programs, but the areas, the locations where these electrolyzer manufacturing plants are coming, or where green hydrogen production plants are coming, so we need to focus on skilling in these areas. Then we'll also need to streamline the safety processes. So we are in touch with PESO, and we are streamlining again at this level. We are working with PESO as to how can we make the things faster to roll. We have identified the locations where these pilot projects on mobility will be running. So looking at places where the technology is the hydrogen IC engine facility, or maybe technology, or maybe the fuel cell technology, and to basically try it out at different climatic conditions. So it can be, we are taking a few pilot projects in the cold regions, near the coast, so as to validate those technologies. But as you know, it's a whole of government approach, and the center, the state governments, all have to work together to make this mission a big success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. With this, I think I would open the floor, and if there are any questions from the audience, maybe 2 or 3 questions. Please be very brief and ask, please, relevant questions. So I see a hand there.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can I? So my name is Mohit. I am from Nomura Research Institute. I have a question from regarding the policy front. So as you have mentioned that GST on hydrogen and ammonia is like 18%. So are there any plans to exempt green hydrogen and its derivatives from GST, as it will be necessary in the initial stage to drive further adoption?
Yeah, right. It's a very good question. In fact, this is also what we have been working on. And as you know, the GST rates are decided by GST Council. Council has representations from all the states. So we are trying to build a consensus there as to reduce the rate of green hydrogen, GST rate on green hydrogen, green ammonia down to lower levels. Yeah.
Hello. Good evening, sir. Sir, I am from Haryana. So मेरा क्वेश्चन सर आपसे है एक्चुअली गुड़गांव में सर जैसे बहुत इंडस्ट्रीज हैं दे हैव ह्यूज डिमांड फॉर पावर एक एक बिल्डिंग का लोड एक एक मेगावाट के आसपास रहता है पीपल वांट टू इंस्टॉल इन द मेन इंडस्ट्रीज ऐसा कोई सिस्टम हो जैसे वो राजस्थान में प्लांट लगा सकें 2-4 मेगावाट का और बिजली उन्हें हरियाणा में मिल जाए सर वैसे अभी तो पावर मिनिस्टर भी हरियाणा के ही हैं सर अगर इसमें आप कुछ हेल्प कर सकें काफी इंडस्ट्रियल एसोसिएशन ने लिखा भी है सर मेरे ख्याल से यूपी में ये सिस्टम है सर वहाँ पावर जैसे M+ कंपनी है वो पावर बना के बेच भी रही है दे आर फ्री टू डू सेल दैट पावर पर हरियाणा में ऐसा सिस्टम भी नहीं है कि आप पावर खुद बना के वहाँ कंज्यूम कर सकें अगर सर आप इसमें हेल्प कर पाए तो बड़ी मेहरबानी होगी सर
देखिए ये जो क्वेश्चन है इस पे आपने कहा कि कुछ जैसे रेसिडेंशियल हाउस होल्ड्स हैं कुछ सोसाइटी
इंडस्ट्रीज में जिंदल भी है सर उन्होंने भी अभी अप्रोच किया था हमको
एक यहाँ पे तो एक बहुत बड़ा प्रोग्राम आप जानते होंगे PM सूर्यघर स्कीम जो चल रही है जिसमें रूफटॉप हाउस होल्ड्स में 1 करोड़ घरों पे पूरे देश में सोलर रूफटॉप लगाना है बट इसके साथ साथ जो इंडस्ट्रीज के लिए
जी सर
तो इंडस्ट्रीज में भी हमारा जो ओपन एक्सेस रूल्स है और आप कहीं पे भी प्लांट लगा सकते हैं और उसको आप यहाँ पे राजस्थान में आप सोलर प्लांट सेटअप कर सकते हैं आप उसको पावर को व्हील करके हरियाणा में भी ला सकते हैं
बट हरियाणा में सर कौन सी एजेंसी इसको डील करती है बिकॉज हरियाणा में वी कॉन्टेक्टेड देयर उनको तो पता ही नहीं है कुछ बोलते वी डोंट नो बोले अगर हम पावर बेचेंगे तो हम सरकार क्या कमाएगी
यूपी में लगाइए देखिए यूपी में सब हो रहा है On serious note, UP allows open access.
Yes, sir, I know that.
Many of people have set up 50 megawatt, 100 megawatt plants, and they are selling it to industry and commercials, big shopping malls, industry in Noida and Greater Noida.
Sir, लगा तो सकते हैं लेकिन
I am actually principal secretary power also. Although we supply power at 8 rupees, 10 rupees, and these renewable companies are supplying this power at 4 rupees.
Yes, or even cheaper, sir, even more.
बाय द वे हरियाणा में भी ऑल्सो ये ओपन एक्सेस उन्होंने भी
सर ओपन जी
है ये कॉमन
है सर लेकिन वो पावर परचेज के लिए सर सोलर के लिए नहीं किया
So I told you for first 5-10 years you can come to UP and then go to there.
पर इंडस्ट्री तो गुड़गांव में सर
सोलर के लिए भी है बट दिस इज ये थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट टॉपिक है तो वी कैन डिस्कस सेपरेटली सर
thanking MNRE for this wonderful event. So there
little louder please.
There is demand today for green hydrogen in certain sectors. As a small startup, I'm willing to put up a 15 megawatt plant with consumers in hand, which I only have some obstacles in the power side. I need a repowering policy one to do the wind power repowering, and secondly, if I could get some support from MNRE to just ensure that the certifications are clear and green. I think a startup like me can do 15 megawatt. I'm sure bigger companies can do much better. If there's any state that is willing to give some insights on this and MNRE's insights.
I was Narendra was talking, I was keeping quiet, but I'll just say the repowering, we are the only state which is a wind repowering policy, which has recently come out. And mind it again, I think when people were talking about banking as a cash banking, we have again brought in annual banking for wind. So please understand the significance of it. You're generating 3 months and you can use the power for 12 months, almost 11 months. So that is what I think repowering is on the web. And so that is something which is very this thing. So if you want to come to Tamil Nadu, are you from Tamil Nadu or you're not from Tamil Nadu?
I'm from Madurai, sir, very much.
Madurai, that's what the repowering policy is there. Come and 15 megawatt is just very easy for you to set up. And I just for keeping the record straight, India's highest open access is provided in Tamil Nadu. So
We don't have wind in UP, wind energy. Otherwise, I would have invited you to UP.
But I'll just add to your second question that was on the certification
Yes, sir.
part. So the certification scheme is currently out. It's on the website. It's open for stakeholders consultation.
Yes, sir.
So you can just go through it and provide whatever comments you are there from all across. It's not for everyone, for the industry as a whole, and for startups as well. And we'll shortly finalize it, the certification.
My client consumers are out of the Europe. So if there's anything specific in the European side, I think the certification is all needed in their end.
Okay, so again, for Europe, for example, there is certification agencies. So and these many of them have their offices in India as well. So and some of our companies, they have got that they have started that process of certification. So you can approach them. You can approach. Many of them are here and they're attending this conference as well.
I
So
just
that-
have to add because a lot of companies are asking for certified green power. So in Tamil Nadu, we are providing certified green power. In the sense, of course, you have to pay slightly higher tariff, but certified green power is there. Of course, there's a lot of modalities for it because I don't know where exactly you're saying, which country you're going to sell your product to. And those, accordingly, it has to be tailor-made, but we do provide certified green power.
Thank you for that, sir.
Thank you.
Just one last point.
I
we
would
can-
request.
Yeah,
our
I think we'll
respected
just stop at
moderator
that in
to
the interest
conclude
of
the session.
time. And I
Please
think we have a
conclude the
report.
session, please. I would.
Yes, please, ma'am.
So a few quick requests. So one has already been highlighted, mandate to the mature industry sector, sir. That is one. So second, so we have the hubs with us. If special financial incentive can be given, one-time special financial incentive can be given to develop the green hydrogen hub at Maharashtra, sir. So third is like when we started with the solar rooftop survey back in 2015-16. So financial institutions like World Bank, they came forward and they helped in having trainings sessions for capacity building from state to state. So if something similar can be done for green hydrogen, because we need special capacity building right from production, transportation, storage, safety, and other subjects. So that is another. So another is when we were looking at the projects where we have given the unique IDs, we realize that the RE which is being used is not only within the state, but it is from outside state also. So for that, whether we have a transmission plan for specific to the green hydrogen per se, sir, if that is being planned, that would help us in future as well, sir. Then, sir, if I'm in a hurry because I wanted to wind up, so I was waiting for the last. I'll give separately, sir. Then, if you may allow,
Can
sir.
we?
It's a long list. Thank you, sir.
We can emphasize on one-on-one for this.
I'll try
Yes.
to respond to what
there's
I
more-
have. I have
there's
just
more,
written.
sir.
So one is on the mandates. So as I said, there are two large sectors. Currently, 95% of hydrogen in India is used in refineries and in fertilizers. So we have made specific allocations for these sectors. So out of we have made 200,000, 2 lakh tons of allocation for the refineries. And these refineries, there are around 10, 12 refineries. The Ministry of Petroleum has further subdivided these targets. For example, Panipat refinery is there, it's floating a tender. Maybe the refinery at Bina is. So there are many number of refineries there floating a tender. So this is not directly, we don't call it a mandate. There's a lot of talk, as I said earlier, and it has been under discussion in various other forums also. Mandates, we're not directly calling it as a mandate, but it is in fact a demand that has come out. For fertilizers, again, this is 7.5 lakh tons of fertilizer of green ammonia procurement that is to be there. So here again, it's not a mandate. But the companies, they are themselves there. It's either you put a mandate and you say, and in fact, let me tell you, when we were discussing this policy framework, there was talks on having a mandate as well. And we identified a certain proportion as a mandate, certain proportion of hydrogen to be used or ammonia to be used. And then we reached out to the refineries and to the fertilizer units. And the figures that they gave us, the demand that they gave us was toward the consumption patterns that they gave us. So it was much higher than what the mandates we were proposing. So then we had to sort of step back from the mandates and let it grow automatically. As far as the skills are concerned, we have a program for skilling. We have Ministry of Skill Development, Skill Council of Green Jobs, and National Skill Development Council. So wherever your requirement is, we are ready to support you there. Yeah. So I have just you can.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
I would request our respected moderator, Mr. Somesh Kumar, sir, to conclude the session.
I think we can conclude the session. Thank you so much to the esteemed panelists. I think so.
Put some rhyming.
For that.
So that would be the right way to close the
Now,
session.
of course, I am from Tamil Nadu's breeze to world stage. India's green hydrogen is writing a new age.
Thank you so much. I think we have a report launch now.
That's
so
correct.
please.
And thanking all the eminent panelists and of course the speaker and of course our respected moderator. Thank you so much for gracing this amazing session. And now I would like to, introduce to you, we are really very privileged to have along with us Sally Taylor, Minister, Councillor, Development, Climate Science and Technology from UK government for the report launch. And the name of the report is Model Comprehensive Guidelines for States on Green Hydrogen. I would please join me welcoming, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Sally Taylor. The report launch and the name of the report is Model Comprehensive Guidelines for States on Green Hydrogen. I would also like to request Ms. Sally Taylor for the opening remarks, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's been a real pleasure to be here for this session. It's been a very interesting set of interventions from the panel. I think very encouraging to hear all the advocacy for each of the states, to hear all about what is happening on green hydrogen. I want to congratulate the government on this great conference. I think it's part of how India's really moving ahead and showing great leadership on clean energy, green energy, determined to sort of grasp the future and to make the most of those opportunities. We have a partnership with India, which we're very proud of, which ranges over a number of different things in the climate and energy space. As you may know, the new UK government is very determined to sort of renew and intensify our efforts on clean energy, and we really recognise the great leadership that's being provided by India in the global climate space. And we're very glad that part of this is really to work with the ministry, with the Joint Secretary and with others in MNRE and with the states to see where we can share expertise, we can support the great efforts that's being made. So I hope these guidelines, which were sort of put together and informed by the experience of several states, as well as sort of expertise from elsewhere, are really helpful in enabling states to really make the most, and India to make the most of the green hydrogen opportunities. Thank you very much.
We would like to take the opportunity to thank Sally Taylor, the Minister Councillor, Development, Climate Science and Technology from UK government. Thank you very much, ma'am. And now we would like to honor all our eminent panelists with the memento. I would request our respected moderator, Mr. Somesh Kumar, partner and leader, Power and Utility, Ernst & Young, to do the honor to Mr. Ajay Yadav, to Mr. Narendra Bhooshan, to Dr. Kadambari Balkawade, to Mr. Rajesh B. Lakhoni, to Mr. N. Amaranath. And we are very privileged to have along with us Ms. Sally Taylor. I would also request our respected moderator to honor Ms. Sally Taylor with a memento, please. Would now like to invite on stage Dr. Kuldeep Rana, Scientist E from MNRE, to honor our respected moderator, Mr. Somesh Kumar. It was indeed an amazing and insightful session. I would request everyone to please come forward for a group photo opportunity, please. Our eminent panelist, respected moderator, and respected Ms. Sally Taylor, please come forward for a photo opportunity. Thank you very much to all the participants, guests, and dignitaries. It has been an amazing session. The session was on green hydrogen policy in Indian states, best practices. And it is the heartiest congratulations, thanks to everyone who participated. The second international conference, Green Hydrogen India 2024, that's in Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. Thank you very much and have a great evening.